Hi, welcome back to the Busy Corner. I want to show you my new design for what I'm going to call a scarf set. And I made it in the basement just out of things from the hardware store. So it's just like before. They're not perfect, but they'll work just fine. And I'll show you everything you get in your kit. And if you need to replace any of these parts, you can get them, from Home Depot or Lowe's. And each arm is 8.5 inches long, so you can accommodate 18 stitches if it's something like a double strand woolies, but you'll be packing them in kind of tight for 18 stitches double stranded. Or this scarf was made 14 stitches, and again they'll be fit rather tightly for that many of stitches. So just so you know, now if you already have a set that you've made or bought from me, I still have the tops of these drilled underneath these. These come off, and you'll see here in a second. These don't need cotter pins because they fit right on there. But the point being is if you have longer pipes, you can put them on there, and if they're pre-drilled, if you got them from me, and you can still use, use the new cotter pins. Maybe I did make this hold the same size. I can't remember now. But the point is, you'll get new cotter pins in the kit. And frankly, if you want to buy a longer pipe, I think you could even put a 30-inch pipe on here. These elbows are very strong. And you can clamp this down to keep it from coming forward, or even use a bean bag on there. I made a couple for my craft room. Now, what I love about this is it's portable, it's lightweight, the pipe will move, but it doesn't pull out easily. It's small enough that you can hold it on your lap, but you'll probably want a sticky mat. Now this is made out of, this is shelf liner, and I don't like it as well as rug gripper. Rug gripper is a little stickier, but just feel what they have in the store. You can hold it right on your lap, or if you'd rather, and want a little bit more room, you could put it on a lap desk with a little piece of sticky mat, and then put that on your lap, and have room for your, stitch counter and all your other stuff right there, and take it on and off. So, when you get your kit, you will be putting some things together, and let me show you what you're going to get first of all. I've included 2 hoop knitters in here that are equivalent to a US 15. They're made out of the 3/8 inch polyethylene tubing. You're going to get a 12-inch and a 16-inch. So if you want to make something longer and wider, you have a 16-inch thing you could knit back and forth and use it just as you do a circular, it's meant to be, makes, a cowl, but if you use it as to do straight knitting, you have 16 inches of length to work with. Now, I've included this little piece of sticky mat because these fit together very tightly, and when you open your box, there's going to be one piece that's 5 inches long. It's already going to have the elbows in there, so you won't need to insert those. And you will find also in your box 2 sides, 2 knitting rods, 2 bottom sides. Okay, so you're going to take your little front piece. There'll only be one of these short ones. And there'll be 4 pieces that are 7 inches long. 2 will already have their elbows inside. And so take your sticky mat and hold your tubing with this. This is made out of that PVC pipe. And you're going to insert your elbow in there, and you need to twist it. Don't try to push. It'll go on much easier if you twist. And then use your sticky mat to just kind of align it. Alright? Then put on your next one. And again, use their sticky mat on there because it's easier to do. I'm not going to say you have to use a lot of force, but you might have to help a little kid with it. Okay, so now you've got those on. Now you have 2 more 7-inch pieces, and they go right on the top of those elbows. And again, use your little sticky mat. Once you've done it a couple of times, they come in and out a little bit easier. Now you have your set, and it's going to sort of look like that. You want to just move them, see how they'll twist. So move them so they're level on the table. And then your next piece to put on are your two 3/8 inch dowel rods with your elbows. Now, these are glued in there. Do not try to remove these. They will not come out. And you can't really see it probably on the camera, but there's a little hole there for your cotter pin. These go in the top. And all your other pieces are going to fit on here. Now, it doesn't matter how far those go in because you can make adjustments. Now, you'll notice that if they're not the same height, you got to push one of your other arms down. These had little spacers, and I had to cut them off because it would just snag your yarn. Now, you know that on the other stand, I have the pipes angled back so that your stitches don't come forward. If you have this sitting on your table such that these are together, like so, it actually is still level. But if you go like this and turn them, now I've created a bit of a pitch, if you can see that on the camera. And so if you have any problem with your stitches slipping off or you just want to get a better view, just angle them out and then angle these in. And it's best if you hold the upright and then twist it right here. These are oak, so, you know, it's going to be hard to break these, but, you know, I imagine with enough force you could. So now you got those on there, and then you will have this set of cover pipes, which will go right on to that cap. You don't have to push them on very far. What I love about this is it moves so you can adjust it, but it doesn't pull out the same way the PVC pipe did. Then you will have inside, nested, you will have 3 more cover pipes. And pour all your stuff out of your cover pipes because that's where your other things are. And in here is going to be your cotter pins, and they're going to get stuck. So take your dowel or your bamboo rod I gave you and pull your cotter pins out. So now you have your 3/8 inch which is equivalent to US 15. These are equivalent, the beige pipe that their stand is made out of is equivalent to US 19. And then you have your Schedule 40 pipe, which is a US 35, US 50, and a US 70, what they call a speed stick. Now, I did this just like I did the others. You'll find 2 cotter pins linked together with some hemp. And when you put your cover pipe on, you don't even really have to look. I kind of started in here, and then I know my little pin is right there, and put it through there, and you'll feel it. And then you'll just kind of rotate this a little bit back and forth till the cotter pin finds its, if you know what I mean. Just kind of go back and forth a little bit, and the cotter pin will drop down. That will do 2 things to put your cotter pin in. It keeps your stitches from going all the way off, and it'll hold your cover pipe on. Now, if you are knitting on your little rods or on this pipe that is equal to the US 19, your stitches might fall off of there. Now, this might seem cheesy, but these clothespins were the best thing I found to keep your stitches from falling off. They fit tight. They're easy to replace if you lose or break one. I only put 2 in your kit, but if you go and buy 2 more, if you already have some or whatnot, you can take these and clip them on your front. Okay? And you can tip then your little stand to whatever angle you want, and they won't scratch. You can use something else, but it's hard to find something that is not metallic that would open big enough. Now, once it's on that big pipe, you won't be able to pinch it off. Just kind of push it off. It'll come right off. Now, once it's on there, you can kind of alter the angle a little bit. Make these point up, or make them point a little lower, or flat. I usually leave them flat until I'm done casting on, and then when I turn it towards myself, depends on how tall your table is. I like to look right at the points, but I have bad eyes, so that's up to you. Now, your 2 little knitting hoops are going to come with, you're going to see 4 caps here. Now, these little caps will fit. See how there's a little bit of curves because it's tubing, and it's also slit. And that way they'll go on, but also so you can get them off. Now that makes this tube now a US 17. You don't have to use both, as long as you're casting on to this side, and then it makes it easier to work your stitches around. When you're doing circular, you only want one on here, because otherwise you have to coax it back up over the ridge, if you know what I mean. So if you're knitting back and forth, you can use both, but if you're doing circular, I would take one of them off. And then these caps, which make a US 19, just like your beige pipe here, they go over the first ones, and that way everything fits together. Now I have to kind of push that, and that's how you use them. Put it on both sides, or again, if it's circular, or even if you're knitting back and forth. But if you like to have your stitches stay up there, okay? Now, when you're doing circular, again, you got to feed those stitches back around, so it's hard to get it back up over that edge, and that's why I say it's better to take your caps off and go back and forth with them. If you want to leave them on there, don't forget, if you're doing back and forth knitting, you want to leave both caps on. You'll have that ridge to bring your stitches up. So be sure you get some Teflon tape, our little pal, Mr. Teflon tape. And I don't have my roll right here. Where is that? You know what I mean. Somewhere I have my little roll of Teflon tape. But you can fill that gap. But as I said, you really don't need, what you're really going to want to do is to circular knit. Leave one cap on this side and then cast on to the cap. And every time you make the new stitches, you want to put it over the cap, because that's what determines the size, just like in a circular knitting needle when they're linked with cable. And if you're knitting back and forth, I would just take these off and put them on the other side. And then you don't have that ridge to deal with, if you know what I mean. So, and we'll do that in another video, but I think you know what I mean by that. So that's what you get in your kit, and it's not big enough for a shawl unless your shawl is a lacy type of thing. And that's it. It includes the shipping. It's $32. And watch the next couple videos. She'll show you how to use it. Thanks for watching.